Have you ever wondered why your life is really difficult and however hard you try and how much you work and how much effort you put to change it for the better, nothing really ever works out? And maybe you've tried positive affirmations and manifesting, and still nothing really changed. And the most painful thing is then you look around and other people seem to have it so effortless, so their life seems to be so smooth and so easy, and everything is working out for them. And you compare yourself and you think, what's wrong with me? Well, the good news is there's nothing wrong with you and it's not your fault. But you may be trying to build something on unstable foundations or even poisoned soil. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the main reasons why things are just not working out for you, no matter how hard you tried. And the good thing is you can do something about it. Hello everyone, my name is Christine. I help people navigate through trauma healing, difficult life transitions, and transformation. And today I talk about why nothing in your life works out, or why is it so hard? Why do you have to put so much effort for so little result? Why does it work with other people but not with you? Okay, so the first and biggest reason is the foundation. You might have, let's say, unstable foundations. So that means imagine two people that are given a piece of land. The one person, and it all looks the same. It all just looks normal, like normal land. And the one person doesn't know that he's been given really unfertile soil, poisoned soil, even dry and full of stones and weeds, and nothing really can grow in there, but can't see it because it's underneath. So he tries to plant crops, he tries to plant trees and flowers, and he puts so much time and effort and energy and gives them water and everything, and just it doesn't really grow, nothing really grows. And his neighbor, who looks like he has been given the same piece of land, he just, puts in the seeds and puts in a bit of water, and things just grow. He soon has something beautiful to harvest, and flowers bloom and whatnot. And he looks over the fence, the guy where nothing grows, and thinks, what am I doing wrong? Why does the neighbor grow such beautiful things and I can't grow anything? What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? But he doesn't see that he has been given shit soil to plant stuff in. And it's basically the same with you. You compare yourself with your peers, with your friends, with your colleagues, whatever, and you think, why do their lives seem to be easy, and why are things working out for them, and why are they successful and I'm not? And well, again, first maybe you don't know them that well, so you don't really know what's going on in their lives. But more than anything is that they probably don't have the trauma that you do. So early childhood trauma is the main reason for an unstable foundation for life. So that means, and I would even say the first 3 years of life and even prenatal, there can be trauma in the womb. And for example, if this is a hard thing to say, but sometimes the mother or the parents, they don't want the child, so maybe they talk about abortion, or they talk about giving it away or whatever. And This is something that the fetus will perceive, that there is a rejection, that it's not wanted, that there is no joy and no love, and it's not welcome, and that even there might be a danger to its life. And I mean, of course, this is not a conscious thing, and later on you will not remember that. But I've gone there in regression. I know that a prenatal trauma in the womb is real. It's a real thing. And I've re-experienced that in a regression, that a rejection. I don't know what exactly happened. Something like maybe my mother said to my father, I'm pregnant. And he was like, no, whatever. There was some sort of rejection. And so that already creates a feeling of I'm not really welcome here on earth, in this life, and in my family. And then in the first 3 years, roughly the first 3 years of life, if something bad happens, if there is a trauma, if there is an early, let's say, attachment trauma, like a rupture. I talked about this in another video. For example, when I was about 1.5 or 2 years old, my mother was in a hospital for 2 weeks, and I was crying every night after night for my mother, lying in the darkness. And my father didn't come and pick me up. He didn't want to be bothered. And my grandmother was there for that time, and she was not very warm or nurturing, and she didn't come early enough. And maybe she got really annoyed, and she didn't soothe me. So that infant in me thought she was gonna die, because that's what happens when we are very little, and we need help, and we need someone to come and to care for us, and to fulfill our needs, and to soothe us, and to basically tell us you're loved, and everything is all right, and you're safe. And that didn't happen, and it created a terrible attachment trauma for me that followed me around for my entire life, and impacted my life very negatively, especially my relationships. And any kind of abandonment, abuse, rejection, emotional abuse, of course, sexual abuse, psychological abuse, emotional neglect, physical violence, alcoholism within the family. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of things, a lot of reasons why that can happen. But if you have a early childhood trauma, a developmental trauma, an attachment trauma, whatever, like this in the first 3 years of life, it goes directly into your subconscious. It goes directly into the body as well, onto the somatic level. And that is, of course, connected with everything else. It's connected to your emotions. And that's connected to the mental level, to the psyche. It's all connected. So the problem is it's pre-verbal, so it goes into the subconscious, it goes into the somatic, and then you forget all about it. Like, you can't remember it at all unless you start working with it and start doing regressions, for example, under hypnosis or a trance state or something with a therapist or a regressionist or something. So that is a big problem, because, you grow up and you are in this world, and there are certain standards and conventions and expectations and how you're supposed to live your life, and like education, school, university, get a job, have a career, get married, have children, all of this. And what's really so unfair is when something like that happens when you're so young, in the first years of your life, then it just impacts all areas of your life, all of them. It's like poisoning a stream at the very origin, at the spring. If you poison it at the spring, then it branches out into rivers and streams and creeks, and they all carry that poison. So yeah, like it's really hard, and it seems so unfair, but that's unfortunately what happens when you have an early childhood trauma. So that's the number one reason. From this trauma, also you will form subconscious beliefs about yourself and about life. Like, for example, if there is a rejection in the womb or something in your early first 2-3 years of life, and you feel you're not loved, you're not safe, you're not welcome in this family with your parents. You also think you're not welcome in this world. So you will form a belief around belonging and about being safe, and your basic trust in life is ruined, and you can't even really build it. Most people who are born in a healthy environment, in a functional family, in an attuned family where they're cared for and and their needs are fulfilled, and they're loved, and their emotions are welcome, they will form a basic belief in life that everything is okay. They are okay. They are loved. They have a right to be here, and they're safe. And whatever they do, it will work out. And we just don't have that, really. And it depends on your individual situation, what exactly happened, and the patterns and the dynamics within the family system. But in general, you will probably not form that basic sense of trust in life and in the world and in yourself. So there's already a subconscious belief of I don't belong and I'm not welcome and things are not working out for me, no matter how hard I try. And that will then go on and on and on, and you grow up, and that unfortunately creates a frequency, a pattern that then manifests this exact thing over and over again. You will attract events and people and situations and relationships that mirror that back to you. And you might be an extremely capable person and intelligent and smart and everything, but the effort that you put in, it doesn't fall on fertile soil and it cannot compound. It just goes poof, and you don't even know it. So that's one reason. Everything I'm talking about right now is also a first chakra theme or a root chakra perspective, because it's all about the foundation. It's all about themes like security, stability, safety, home, family, belonging, also money, and worthiness, and all of that. And again, if in the first few years of life something bad happens, trauma and wounding, then this cannot properly be built. It cannot really form in a healthy, stable way. So all of these themes, you might struggle with all of them, maybe with one, two, or most likely with all of them, like I have, and sometimes I still do. And that is the unstable foundation. That is also like, you try to build your house on sand. It might work somehow, but at some point it will start collapsing. And that's why no matter how hard you try and how much effort you put in, it will not really work out, because it's built on sand. Also, I'm not going into this right now too much, but to that theme of foundation and poisoned soil, things like ancestral trauma or intergenerational trauma, that is a part of this. Because if you had trauma in childhood, in early childhood, and your parents, in whatever way, shape, or form, they caused that trauma, there is a dysfunction. And that did not originate with them, and it came from their parents and from their parents and so on and so on. I mean, God knows where it started. So there is already a stream of consciousness, a certain frequency of a certain negative energy within your bloodlines. And that could be roughly, I don't know, that could be a theme of sexual abuse and incest. That's a hardcore one. There could be alcoholism. There could be certain diseases. There could be certain things like always going bankrupt and losing a lot of money and poverty and scarcity and things like that. I mean, there's so many different things, like narcissism, like whatever. women being mistreated and suppressed, like there's just a lot of stuff that could be happening, and that did not originate with you and not with your parents and not with their parents. And you don't have to do this when you just start out your healing journey. It's more important to start with your life right now and your childhood trauma, but just know this, that at some point, looking at your family system, looking at your bloodlines, looking at your ancestors, and starting ancestral healing is strongly, strongly recommended. Because that is also one of the foundations that you don't even know. It's in your blood. You are connected to your ancestors, whether you want it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, or whether you like it or not. Like, I did not know how much darkness I had in my bloodlines. It was crazy, and it took so long. It took me over a decade, full-time work, like hardcore full-time work to heal that, because there was just so much darkness, especially in the mother line, but in both. There were themes of, I mean, I'm not getting into it, but like there was just so much trauma there. There was a witch wound. There was terrible persecution and just being killed, and there was also meddling around with witchcraft and black magic and all of that stuff that created really, really a lot of very negative consequences. And there was a curse as well that was just passed down the bloodlines, the descendants, the female descendants especially. And I was at the receiving end, and I was the one who had to clear all that crap up, like, because I was the only one who was, I don't know, I chose this on a soul level. So if something like this happens to you, if you have that pattern in your life, just know, yes, it's hard, yes, it sucks, yes, it's unfair, but on some level you chose this on a soul level to incarnate in a difficult family system, in contaminated bloodlines, to clear them, to heal them, to transmute them from the inside out. And it's not easy. It's really not. And I'm not getting too much into it right now, but this is a big part of having a poison soil and an unstable foundation. So just know about ancestral healing. And at some point, if you feel called, just look into it and start it. The other thing that is a part of this, and it's a very, very, very underneath, very subconscious one, but it's there. And for me, it was a huge one. But for most people, it might not be necessary to start to look into this too much. And also maybe you don't even believe in that. And, just take what resonates and just leave the rest. But past life stuff is a big one. And I've had, I don't know how many past lives I've seen, I've experienced. I spontaneously saw them. I saw the patterns, especially in relation to my now ex-partner and the patterns we had. And there's usually also a trauma and a certain pattern to that trauma. For me, it was persecution, the witch wound, again, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. I was stopped in my divine purpose, in being a healer, teacher, whatever it was, like, or part of a spiritual community, Gnostic Christians or the Cathar community or anything like that. I was just always, caught and imprisoned and persecuted and killed or exiled. And I lost my beloved, I lost the home, I lost the whole family, the children. I just lost my everything. And sometimes I ended up killing myself or being killed or just being a beggar on the street or, whatever. It was just always really bad. And that caused such a strong imprint, such a strong pull that I was already born with, on top of then the ancestral stuff. So that's already before you're even born. You already have that in your field. And it's all connected. Again, you choose the family and the mother and the father and the bloodlines. And there's a correlation usually between that, your own karmic patterns and the karmic lesson that you need to learn, and the cycles that need to be closed and to be healed and to make peace with, also between other people, but like between souls, karmic contracts, soul contracts, and so on. And then there's the same or a very similar frequency is already in that bloodline. So you choose to incarnate in that bloodline because it's like a very similar frequency. And it's all for actually creating that unstable foundation, so that with all of these challenges and all of these problems and all of these struggles, you are pushed on a path of awakening and transformation and healing. It's not random. Life is not punishing you, and God is not punishing you, even when sometimes it really does seem that way, and it really sucks and it's really unfair. And that's a valid point of view and a valid thing to feel. And it's important to acknowledge our human in all of this. Like, it sucks, it does. It's hard. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to feel it's unfair. You're allowed to, like, fuck, this sucks. It does. But in the greater scheme of things, there's so much more to it. So I said it in other videos, try to be open to the idea that on some level you chose this and you created this. And you can, therefore, uncreate it. You can change something. You can make the choice to heal this now. You can make the choice right here, right now, to heal your foundations, to heal the childhood trauma, to heal the ancestors, to heal the past life and the karmic things, to heal your foundation. It also creates, for a lot of us, this feeling of, I don't want to be here. Especially when you identify as a starseed, a light worker, an old soul, and all of these labels, it doesn't matter, but there is a certain feeling of, and you probably know what I'm talking about when you have that very early in life already, you're like, you look around and you don't feel like you belong. Like, you look at your family, your friends, everyone, you're like, who are these people? I have nothing in common with them, and you don't feel like you belong. So the feeling of not belonging, it's tied to that first chakra, the root chakra theme of home and belonging and safety and stability. And then there's a disruption. So you already come into this world with all of this stuff. You're like, God knows from God knows, higher dimensions. You're used to love and light and And then you have but at the same time, you can have the past lives and the past life trauma. You have the ancestral trauma, the intergenerational trauma, your parents and all of this, and you're born into this world with all of this baggage and you don't even know it. So that you already come here with like a shit piece of land that you're already given. And then on top of that, trauma happens because it's already there. It's already the perfect condition for trauma then to happen in childhood, maybe in early childhood. And that creates the big one. The wounded inner child, the exiled inner child, the wounded teenager, and it all piles up, accumulates. Then you attract over and over again the same situations, the same challenges, the same relationships, the same bad stuff, depending on your particular pattern and situation, the same being abandoned over and over again, being cheated on over and over again, losing your job and money over and over again, or your home or whatever, and you've always felt like you don't want to be here and you don't belong. And all of that is still part of that foundation for life. So this is something, all of this, what I'm talking about, this is really something to look at. And I'm sorry, this is the most important work you'll ever do, is to heal your foundation. Everything I'm just talking about, and I'm trying to not waffle again for over an hour. I could say much, much more to this. I'm trying to keep it short. and this is, this is it. This is what you need to look at first and foremost. Look at your foundation. Look at all these things I just said. And make a choice to start healing. Make a choice to heal your foundations. And if you don't know where to start, then start with yourself. Start with your childhood trauma. And it can help to have a therapy, to talk about what happened. But if you only do that, it will not change much. It will not heal much, because you just stay in the story and in the cognitive mental level, and you talk and you reflect, but you're not going to the root cause. You're not going to where the trauma really lives, which is in your body. In the somatic level, there is a dysregulation of the nervous system, the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic nervous system. I mean, I'm not an expert in that, but it's all like connected. And your emotions, of course, the emotions are in the body as well. It's one and the same with the somatic level. And then the limiting beliefs and the subconscious beliefs and choices you made that I mentioned before about yourself, about life, how everything is so difficult, how you don't want to be here, how nothing ever works out, and all of that. And then life will give you over and over proof for that until you until you become aware and you choose to start healing this. Okay, the second big one is the container is wrong. The first one was the foundation. The second one is the container. And what I mean with that is your life's situation and your life's circumstances. That could be, for example, the place you live in, the house you live in, the people you live with, your relationship, your partner, the job, the career that you live in, the entire microcosm of the environment you live in. So imagine, for example, you are like a tree from like an orchard tree, an apple tree, somewhere from Europe. And then you are planted in the Sahara or something, or in a super humid jungle on the other side of the world. You are scorched by just sun and hot and heat and you're not getting any rain. So what will happen to the tree? It will wither, it will not grow fruits. But if the tree doesn't know that he was planted in the desert soil, he's like, what the hell? What's wrong with me? Why can't I grow apples? I'm stupid. I'm too stupid to grow apples. Like, okay, stupid example, but you know what I mean. Like, the entire ecosystem is wrong for that tree. And it's not the tree's fault. He thinks it's his fault, but it's not. So maybe you have the wrong ecosystem and the wrong containment and container that you live in that is not conducive for your thriving. If you live, for example, in a very, in a abusive relationship, in a toxic relationship, in a karmic relationship, in a relationship where there is just lots of wounding and codependency and enmeshment and even trauma bonding, things like that. Or in a family with parents that are critical and negative and not supportive at all. Or, I don't know, you just absolutely hate your job and it's soul destroying. Or maybe all of it at once. God knows, I had that. Like, it's really difficult to build something, to create something, to thrive, to make things work when your foundation is unstable and even toxic and the container around you is just not right for you. It might, and there is no general cookie cutter thing for everyone, the one person thrives in this place and the other person thrives in that place, or in this job and in this career and the other one not. But if you don't feel good where you are or with whom you live or what you do with your life, then look at that. It could also be a really, like for me, I had a terrible karmic relationship with not just my parents, my family, and my romantic partners, but with the country I was born in and my ancestors. And they were mostly German, and one branch was French. And it was no coincidence that my ex is French. And when I met him and we moved to France together, I've never been there before. And then all of a sudden, I started to wake up to all of this crazy stuff. The past life memories came up and so much more, because that's not only where some ancestral stuff happened, but mostly where my past life trauma came from, of having been burned as a witch over and over again. It was in this country. And in my own country, I just never felt like I belong. It felt heavy. It felt dense. The social cultural background I grew up in was just absolutely, I could not at all. I didn't feel good in there. I felt like a complete alien, starseed thing also again on top of that. And no matter how hard I tried with Germany and then later with France, it just didn't work. It was not meant to be to live there and to build a life there. It was meant to be healed, transmuted, and then released, and then living. It's the same with a karmic relationship. You can, and I know because I've tried for over a decade, like you can try as you might to do all the healing in the world. I've looked at the 28th past life with him. Like, I need to heal everything so I don't lose him again. And what happened? Of course I lost him again, because it was never meant to be for a lifetime. It was meant to be, certain patterns needed to repeat and then needed to be finished. Cycles needed to be finished, and closure needed to happen, and making peace and then letting go and moving on. And it's the same sometimes with the country that you live in. Either it's your native country or not. But look at it, how you feel in this place. Like, does it feel right for you? Do you feel good there? Is there positive stuff happening? Are things flowing? Or not? Or are you running into one problem after the other, and challenges, difficult situations, hostile environments, hostile people? It could be that it's just not the right location for you. I mean, I could talk for hours and hours just about this, as, you know, having been traveling the world and living as a nomad for the last almost 15 years of my life. I mean, I've looked all over the world for the perfect home and a place I could feel safe in, and I would finally be happy. And that is just not happening when you don't look first within yourself and with, you know, at all these things, like all the trauma and the unstable foundations. And if you don't feel at home in your own body, in your own self, in this world, then you can, you know, I've lived at the most beautiful places sometimes. I've lived at horrible shitholes, but I've also lived in the most beautiful, exotic places, at beach, in tropical islands, and like spiritual hubs and communities. And it was, you know, or like south of France or Italy or like in so many places. And after a while, when the novelty wears off, you feel bad again, because the root causes are not healed. As within, so without, not the other way around. And yet, I was chasing endlessly the perfect place to live, to finally feel good and be happy. But I needed to do it within myself. And the last thing that I would ever have thought was the wrong container was my relationship. I moved to Bali because of a breakup of a 10-year relationship. And I said it before, it was karmic. It was also at times amazing and supportive, and we did the traveling and the healing together, and he supported me, and it was the right thing for that time, but it was never meant to last forever. And because of that frequency we had, the container around us being karmic on a soul level, but also psychologically and emotionally. Again, there was like codependency, enmeshment. We were mirroring each other's trauma, like the father wound, the mother wound, everything. So we could not thrive together. So everything we tried, whatever we tried to build together, it was just kept on collapsing and kept on collapsing. So yeah, look at that. Look at these things and ask yourself, are you in the right place with the right person, in the right environment? Do you live in an environment that is conducive for your thriving, or is it something that you need to maybe change and to heal and to release? Okay, so the third thing, and that's what it's all about, is alignment. Everything that keeps collapsing in your life, all that stuff that's not working out for you. And again, you can do manifestation and vision boards and positive affirmations until you are blue in the face. They will only trigger something. They will start the process. But you cannot expect something to work like this. You say, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, and you do the abundance vision board and all of this stuff, but it's not, the money is not coming. It's not coming. Why? Because the foundation is unstable around money. There might be lack and scarcity patterns in your family system, in your ancestral lines, you already came with a past life trauma of having lost your livelihood over and over again and starved to death, and you carry all that with you. And a few affirmations and manifestation and vision boards will not change that like a magical fix. It will just start the process, but it will bring up all of these things that first you need to heal about the foundation, about the wrong container. And then you can start healing. And the more you heal, the more you release of this old stuff, the more you raise your vibrations, the more aligned you will become. The more I talk about this over and over again. That's why I harp on about this, to do a aligning meditation each morning where you just align with your heart, with your soul, you ground into Mother Earth, which is very important if you have early trauma and you have a root chakra problem, then you are very ungrounded maybe. And you're not really in your body. So I also recommend to do lots of grounding stuff and to come back into your body, and embodiment practices, somatic practices, be in your body, like exercise, yoga, breath work, meditation, like more like on a somatic level, a somatic emotional level. Go in nature, put your feet in the soil, swim, walk. All of these things help you with the grounding. And then you need to embody it. But it's all about alignment. It's not punishment. It's everything that is not aligned with who you are, with the truth of who you are, with your heart's and soul's light and truth, and your true passion and your true purpose in life, and your path, your highest timeline. All of this, if it's not aligned with that, it will keep collapsing. And the times we live in, it's times of great change, of transformation. Some people call it ascension. That's not like woo-woo bullshit. This is real. And I mean, eventually we all gonna like awaken to that, and we all gonna start striving towards our true path, our soul's path, our alignment. But for most of us, there is just stuff in the way that is not aligned. So that's the unstable foundation. It's the wrong container in your living situations and so on. And anything that is not aligned will eventually start falling away. Like I had to lose everything, and everyone. I could bring nothing with me into this new life, into this new, or maybe not new, into this true self, into my true expression, in the expression of what my soul came here to do and to be in this world and in this life. And I could not bring my old friends, my relationship, my living in my country, or, like anything, any kind of job that I tried, any kind of career, like I could bring nothing. It just kept collapsing. It kept collapsing because it was just not aligned, and I was just also not ready yet. So look at it from a bit of this angle too. Like, if things are not working out, it might just also not be your thing. It might not be the right thing for you. It might not be aligned for you. It might not be, where you thrive. And it might not be aligned with your soul's plan and, whatever you want to call it, the divine plan for your life. You came here for a reason. And especially when you had trauma, when you grew up under very difficult circumstances, when you had all of these very difficult challenges and experiences, and then you start the path of healing and transformation, that's not by accident. It's not random. There is a purpose behind it. There is your soul's plan and your soul's purpose for this life maybe has something to do with that. And all of this stuff happened to push you on that path, to leave behind what was keeping you trapped, what was keeping you small, where you kept shrinking and dimming your light and adapting and people-pleasing and appeasing and, whatever, the family, the friends, the relationships, the jobs, the careers. It all had to not work out. It all had to collapse. And for me, I could have left already 2008 or even earlier when things started really collapsing. I was not even 30 yet, and I didn't. I just tried over and over again to, I'm fired from this job, so I tried the next thing and the next thing, and that relationship ends. And then I was just like over and over and over. I tried to repeat what I knew, what was familiar, what was my comfort zone, what everyone else did, what everyone else expected, and how everyone else lived their lives. And it was very painful because, the universe gives you nudges first, more gentle, but if you don't listen to it, then it starts to punch you a bit more, it starts to slap you in the face. And if you still don't want to listen, it has to pull the rug from under your feet. And then it gets really hard and really painful, and maybe you lose everything at once. I just recently made a video about when it all falls apart, the 6 phases of transformation, when something bad happens and your life collapses. And it's not random, and you're not punished, and there's a reason for that, but nevertheless, it's really hard. It's really painful. But it's all about alignment. It's about becoming aligned with your true north, with your highest path, with your highest timeline, with your alignment, expansion, joy, happiness, abundance, success, everything that you could ever want in life. But it needs to start with healing your foundations. That's where you have to start. And looking at the container around you, your life situations and circumstances, and then look at what is not aligned, what does not feel right, and start to follow that which feels more aligned, which feels right, where your heart expands, where you get excited, where we start to feel happy, where you're like, yeah, that's it, that could be it, and start following that, and ask for help, ask the universe for help, ask your soul, your higher self for guidance, ask your spirit guides, your angels, divine mother, father, God, whatever whoever you work with, ask for help and support and signs and guidance, and you will get it. Okay, and the last thing is, the times we live in is times of transformation, change, great change. Anything unaligned must go. It all falls, it all collapses on an individual level, but also on a collective level. But if you are, as I said before, an old soul, a starseed, a light worker, you, especially when you're incarnated in a really difficult family, dysfunction, bloodlines, trauma, all of this, you're here to heal that. That's part of your purpose. But also, you cannot tolerate misalignment. And again, this is very subconscious, because on a conscious level, you only know what you know, right? Like, you're born into a certain social cultural background, or religious, or educational, or political, or whatever, and you look around and everyone does the same thing, and everyone, maybe they're very conformist, and you have to live the same way, and you have to do the thing, like get the job and get married, have children, all of this, because it's expected of you and everyone does it. But maybe it's just not who you are. Maybe it's just not meant for you. And like, try as you might to squeeze yourself into that. You're a round peg and you try to squeeze yourself into a square hole. It will not work. It will just not work, because you cannot tolerate misalignment. You cannot tolerate something that is not meant for you. You cannot tolerate like a more negative or a more low vibrational or dense frequency environment. So that's also why eventually things will collapse over and over and not work out, because it's your soul, it's the universe trying to push you towards alignment. And you can pretend that you are someone that you're not, that you're normal, and you do all the normal things, and you live your life the normal way, and you can lie to yourself that you are okay, that you're happy, and deep down you know you're not. But it will catch up with you, because again, things will just keep collapsing. I know, my life has everything has collapsed so multiple times in a big way, like full on death, rebirth, crazy, big, I don't know. And I've lived already 10 lifetimes in one, minimum. So yeah, just choose alignment, but also be aware of the consequences. Because again, if you choose to heal, if you choose to heal your foundations, if you choose to make your environment, your container, more conducive to happiness, to thriving, and you choose alignment with your true, your true self and your soul and all of that, then things might just start falling apart, because they have to. Relationships, friendships may fall away. Jobs may just, you might lose them, or you get fired, or, you get kicked out of your home, or anything like that. It's because, there might be some problem there, some trauma, some problem in the foundation, as I said before, but it might also just be a very brutal way of life, the universe and your soul telling you are on the wrong path. Get out of there. So, yeah. It's not an easy path. It's really not. And if you're watching this, I know that you are strong enough and you're powerful. And if you don't feel like it, I understand, but you are. And just choose to take your power back. Make choices. Make the choice to start changing something, to start that healing. And the universe will help you. It will. So I send you a lot of love and a lot of encouragement. I know it's possible. I've done it. And I was a very resistant learner. And I went on this path kicking and screaming. I did not want. And yet I've somehow managed to do it. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Probably 10 times better and faster. So yeah, I send you lots and lots of love. Have a great day. Bye-bye.